good morning, dear viewers. This is Ernest again here at Gaza Media Headquarters. As we already announced on the flyer, we'll be having a discussion with Dr. Ndemano Michael, who is the CEO of LECDA USA. LECDA USA is the BLM Culture and Development Organization that has fostered a lot of development and cultural preservation in the BLM. So we'll have the opportunity that we'll be bringing Dr. Ndemano to give the community some update on some of the activities that they have been doing behind the scene. Please stay tuned as he will be here momentarily. So, but for the meantime, you begin to share the link to all family, all the BLM sons and daughters. Please share to different forums, to different fandom of the BLM community at large. We are talking about the ban, the war, and the Ngong and the rest, and many other fandom or any village association. Please, this is very important. He has a lot of package that he will bring it out to you. Again, stay tuned. But for the meantime, let me bring this bottle down to you while we'll be waiting for Dr. Ndemano to show up. But he has signaled that he will be here momentarily. Please stay tuned. Dear viewer, again, here now it's almost time to get set. Please get maybe a cup of coffee. Still morning time here in the US. If you are in Cameroon listening to us, maybe you grab a drink and stay put so that Professor Ndemanu will bring the State of LECDA USA to the people of the BLM in particular. What LECDA has been doing, the challenges that they have faced, and where he thinks moving forward, what is at stake. He has a lot of package that he has prepared for us. Please stay tuned again. In less than a minute, he will be here. Thank you. Okay, dear viewers, you are welcome back again. Here we have Professor Ndemano, who is the CEO of LECDA USA, as many of you know him. But before then, I would just want him to introduce himself to our audience. Prof, go ahead.
Hello, dear viewers. This is Professor Michael Ndemano. I'm a professor at Ball State University. I'm currently on a Fulbright assignment at the University of Ngaoundere. I'm also the CEO of LECDA USA. I've been the CEO of LECDA USA since 2019 when we were elected to serve in that office. And my term of office is coming to an end, and so we'll be organizing elections during this summer.
Okay, this summer, when would that be, Doc, Prof?
Yes, so Minnesota, LECDA Minnesota is going to host the convention this year, and we are currently working on the venue of that convention, and it's more likely not going to be Memorial Weekend that is traditionally
the last weekend of
May for LECDA convention. So Minnesota agreed to host, but on condition that it will not be on Memorial Weekend because they have other commitments that we
Prof, we are talking about convention. Let's just discuss that now. Last year, the convention didn't take place. I know sometimes I think you sent one communique in the LECDA forum trying to explain. Can you just briefly explain to the audience again the reason why the convention of last year did not take place?
Okay, thank you for that question. You know, when we took over in 2019, the following year, that was 2020, there was this outbreak of COVID pandemic. And with all the restrictions, social restrictions, we couldn't meet. But we found a way out by organizing virtual conventions and virtual town hall meetings. And, and so this year is going to be the first face-to-face convention under my tenure. Last year, we were planning to have another virtual convention. But when around April, they started opening up businesses, they started lessening the restrictions. And so we thought, okay, no, maybe we should switch to a face-to-face convention. Little did we know that it was going to be really challenging, given that California was going to be our host. And not only Minnesota, but many other places that would have also hosted us couldn't find any halls available. So, you know, it's like most people had not had that opportunity to socialize. And so when they opened up places, more people wanted to organize. People who had been holding their weddings and other events, they started programming them. So we explored that opportunity, that possibility of hosting the convention, even extending it to October, but halls were booked all over places. And California in particular, they were asking, the halls were pretty expensive, more than twice the amount that we usually disburse to host a convention. So we couldn't go with
no, I think yes. I think that will give at least a kind of a tangible explanation now to our viewers, for people that maybe they have been wondering why we didn't why the convention didn't take place. So, Prof, yeah, you stated that you have been in the office probably about 3 years, getting to 3 years, or your time of office almost over. Can you maybe briefly, maybe just highlight maybe some of the successes that you have been able to achieve? I know it was in a very difficult time with this pandemic, where it's something that we have never seen before.
I agree. It was a difficult time, not only with pandemic, but with the security situation back in the BLM. So that has made it very difficult to carry out some of these projects, what people want to see, tangible projects that they want to use to measure the success of any administration. But our administration did not just want, in the absence of our opportunities to really go to the ground and say, okay, we are repairing the road between one fondom and the other. We really invested more on the humanitarian side. We worked with Mbongwe, which is a non-profit organization, and had a lot of experience doing humanitarian work on the ground. So we passed through them to fund a lot of our activities in the area of, let's say, health, education, and many other things, like.
Yes, you just mentioned about her. Yeah, let me ask you this quick question. I know at some time LECDA also co-sponsor the medical mission in Chang for our IDP from the BLM who were resident probably in the West. I think that was the School of Pharmacy and Medical School in Douala that were doing those activities. Can you just briefly maybe throw more light how successful was that event?
Yes, those students reach out to us to support the initiative, and that's part of what we do. That is, we outsource some of our projects. We identify competent organizations on the ground to carry out activities on our behalf. And UDEMSA was just one of those organizations that reached out to us, and we disbursed some money for them to go to Chang and help our vulnerable population that is internally displaced. And the report that was shared with us showed massive participation of the BLM people. They were able to reach hundreds of people who had been sick and who had not had money to go to hospital. And we are working with LECDA USA to also carry out a similar health campaign, and I think that's coming up in March or so, and people should stay tuned on that.
Okay, thank you. At least I'm glad to hear. I think probably this is my first time that LECDA is actually partnering with Fondong organization to actually do some of this project around. And I also see the structure of the leadership. Can you want to explain how maybe the structure of Board of Trustees or the leadership of LECDA?
But before I get to that, one other thing that, as you were asking a question about some of our
successes,
and I said we have been working with organizations, and I mentioned Mbongwe, and some of the things that Mbongwe did.
Explain what is Mbongwe? You say it's a non-profit organization on the ground.
Yes, non-profit organization based in Fako, but that have been doing.
It's run by the BLM people.
BLM people,
okay.
Yes, and they even had an office in Menji before the crisis, and so they have been. They don't solicit funds only from us, but they do it. They've been working with different international organizations, raise funds to support women, empower children, and some of the things that they requested money for was to issue birth certificates. Help issue birth certificates to internally displaced children who could not enroll in schools in Fako area because they didn't have birth certificates, because they were running away from the war. They never got the chance to maybe pick anything as they headed out. And then we had they also requested funds, which we also provided to buy farming tools and vegetable seeds and so on for women who were internally displaced. But the their work was, I mean, it extended to Sancho and to Chang. They didn't just restrict themselves to.
Yeah, because that's why I wanted to ask you that.
Yes.
Most of our people, when they during the crisis erupted, they just moved to the closest, which was Chang, and think that's where there are more cluster.
Exactly. So that is and that's what the board emphasized. We just do not want you to go and help only internally displaced population. In fact, we want you to go to all those different clusters down.
Okay.
Yeah, and in addition to that, we have also disbursed funds to support community school projects that they're currently referring to some of the schools that are gradually reopening. That has been the LECDA vision. That is because we have Fundum presidents who now sit on the board of LECDA. So we are able to know exactly what is happening in each Fundum. And we have the opportunity to discuss with people, discuss with presidents, and discuss with their problems and find solutions and vote on how much money those projects need.
So it appears that means every fundum in the BLM participate.
Unfortunately, not every fundum. So, and I want to make this clear here. So, if you don't have information about LECDA, ask your fundum president if he or she sits on the board of LECDA USA. So we have, like we don't have any fundum represented in the board from the villages, from the fundums in Wabani, for example. So we currently have a sort that's represented Leban, that's represented War, Dungated, Mwameto, Mwangong, Mogumbi.
So now, Prof, now, what are some of the, I don't know, there are about 17 fundum, I believe. Some of the fundum that are not, that maybe they are not able to form an association.
Yes.
How do you, what are the criteria for them to be member of the board for the LECDA, so that they can also have their own national cake?
I mean, it's not like we neglect any fundum when it comes to investment. When we want to carry our projects, it suffices that we identify the problem and measure the needs of the population. Like recently, we disbursed money to a non-profit organization, a grassroots non-profit organization called RUPA, that is based in Norwest, and it is run by one of the BLM daughters from Wabani area. And so she reached out to us about sanitary health, the sanitary part, the providing sanitary part to secondary school girls in Wabani area, and we disbursed money for that. And she came. I mean, we received a comprehensive report about the impact of that gesture. So we want all the fundums to be represented on the LECDA board because statutorily they are supposed to be. But we also understand that there are some fundums that do not even have an association in the US, and we do not use that against them. So if there is any need for us to support any project anywhere in the BLM, we don't look at whether you have been contributing to development, towards the development levies or so on or not. We don't look into that. We go ahead and help.
Let me throw this one question. It appeared, I mean, when I'm listening to you now, it appears there's a lot of LECDA doors that maybe many people don't know. For the media, we have learned just about a few of them, but now you are reciting many of the projects. Do the Secretariat have an effective way of communicating to the public?
Yeah, I think traditionally, what we have done is we study requests for funds and determine based on the gravity of situations on the ground and the potential impact to the community.
What I'm really saying is, when, like, for example, you've mentioned about you partner with Mbongwe, you partner with this other lady here, you partner with this other organization with Fundong sponsoring. The people seem not to know.
Yes, that's what I wanted
in the media, I'm learning probably for the first time.
Yes.
So if I'm from learning there, for me, that I believe that maybe there are people.
No, there's a communication gap here because there's still that tendency for us to operate like we've always operated in the past. That is,
at the end of the year,
we fund projects. They send us reports, but those reports are presented at the convention. So people who follow the convention, who attend convention, know everything that is happening. But it's not supposed to be that way, and that's why we have brought Fundom presidents on board, so that at each given point and we have even recommended that they should have an item on the agenda on the monthly meetings where they talk LECDA. And so report on the activities of LECDA.
But
that's not enough.
But don't you see that because of the technology that we have today? I mean, the WhatsApp that I mean, I think but I just think that maybe the leadership should do more like if we succeed in this project. For example, the medical mission, which was announced that LECDA is helping. Everybody saw that. I saw it. Now, whenever they finish, there was never a feedback to say, this project was successful. These are some of the images. And that's what I'm referring to, maybe through the same channel. Then many people, I believe that a lot of people that subscribe to LECDA Forum. That is the forum for the BLM people. We're not talking about every person in their forum announcing whatever they are doing.
Exactly. No, this is very important. And that's why Gaza Media comes in. And you have come in to fill the gap. A huge vacuum that has been there for many years, and I just hope that we as Liberian people will see it as our own communication outlet that we can support, because this is what you are doing, this mostly pro bono, and if there is a way for us to have remunerate some of these journalists, student journalists who are volunteering for this service, that will really help to ensure that we are able to communicate, pass our message out. Because when people are not aware of what we are doing, then how do they even get engaged? Because how do they get to support us? Because we don't have any budget, any money coming from the government. We rely mostly on community support, individual support, and individual support can only be stronger if people are aware of what we are doing with the money.
Prof, maybe let's take a quick break so that we can have a sip of water, maybe just about 30 seconds or 1 minute, then we'll be right back. Let me bring in some of this music, bottle dance again, that I think many people would love to hear. Yes, Prof, before we went on break, we were talking on the successes and some of the things that LECDA has been able to, some of the activities that I've done so far. Do you still have some of the things before we switch gear to a different topic?
Yes, and our emphasis, as we're talking about in the area of health, Mary Health of Africa in Fontem has also received our support. And then we also have Ngwengong Cultural and Development Association that reached out to us about the construction of bridges, and they also receive help from us.
Okay, yeah, Prof. Yeah, I think you talk about you've talked about a lot of partnership with different funding organizations, which is good, and with some other non-profit organizations. Let me ask you: is there any LECDA Cameroon?
That's a good question. And during my stay in Cameroon recently, I tried to investigate if there was any LECDA Cameroon. There is LECDA Cameroon in paper, but in reality there is not, because I reached out to individuals, elite in Yaoundé who are very committed community leaders in their various fondoms, and no one could say they have ever attended any general assembly organized by LECDA Cameroon in the last, say, 5 years or so. And on the contrary, I was hearing a lot about Kong Lekuda
Yeah.
So
Which will also cover some of the activity.
Exactly. So, and it's really unfortunate because this is, we're talking about the BLM development, and
our homeland wouldn't even have
yes,
the home-based association.
a strong home-based organization that would have instead been working in locksteps with the different LECDA branches around the world. So, but we operate. When I took office, that was one of the first things. I reached out to Professor Tambo and many others, and he was also really committed to helping make sure that LECDA USA liaises with LECDA Cameroon. But it was just really difficult because I think from what I met, the current president was Mr. John Fongan. What he explained was in the bylaws, they do rotatory presidency. So from one subdivision to the other.
And when was this? Recently?
Yes, we met 1 month ago. We met. We met in December. Yeah. So so he was explaining that when it was about Wabani's turn, it became difficult. There was nobody to step in, and so that has really dragged things. But he also showed me the constitution of LECDA USA that he had printed out, and that they were working on something to adopt our model, where we have this board of trustees and board officers and so on. So we are. So we have had that conversation that there is need for LECDA Cameroon to be known, and in terms of the activities.
Yeah, because I believe if they are, then it will be easier for you to, or LECDA USA, to maybe easy partner with them and say, okay, we want to execute, because they will already have an institution to execute some of the project.
Yes.
Then now, let me ask you, do you have the opportunity to maybe talk to him about information that circulated on social media, then that some funds were disbursed to the said John Fongan? The document show that the Ministry of Finance in Cameroon, Yaoundé, signed some money to him, and he was the recipient on behalf of the BLM youth. Do you have the opportunity to maybe talk to him?
Yes, I had a conversation with him on that, and he denied categorically that he had not embezzled any money from.
But he accepted receiving money.
He did not accept, he did not deny receiving money, but he said he has never misappropriated funds dedicated for development projects. And yes, and when I approached him, I wasn't we're having a conversation on the BLM development and many other things.
It was not a kind of hostile
kind of environment, because he showed me documents of these road projects to many other things that he had been working on. So for this particular issue, it's really a vexing matter, and Libyan people are really frustrated about that. That 120 million CFA will be disbursed to support the BLM youth, and then and we will always see that kind of document on social media. We've never heard about.
So you are saying that prior to that release of that document, you've seen that it was in 2018, even though you came in the office in 2019. So all that time until maybe a couple of months where that document was released, you were never aware of anything?
I had never heard about it. I would have even shared it with our community, because that's a lot of money. And no, there was nothing has been said about 120 million or even 20 million or whatever amount that was being used to buy farming tools for the BLM youth and so on. So that's why when I was approaching him, I was thinking maybe he could throw more light on that, but he said no, he has not misappropriated any funds, and then he wasn't necessarily willing to say he is going to go out and debunk that information, because once he does, then more questions will be coming also. And I think at this point, since the anti-corruption unit at the presidency is investigating the matter.
Yeah, because we also saw the document again
yes,
that some of them and some other associations were summoned to maybe for interview or for interrogation.
Exactly, or maybe for auditing and so on. So it's the government's responsibility. I know some LECDA members were acting as if LECDA USA can go to Cameroon and sue somebody, and so no, it's not within our jurisdiction.
So but Prof, just not within the jurisdiction of LECDA USA, but don't you think? But do you think that maybe some elite of the BLM could put their head together and say, no, if this is true or if whatever it is, can you, maybe in the public opinion, we're not crucifying him, but as a brother to us, is it really true that, I mean, they will give money for our children, for our people, then it will just end somewhere?
Yes. No, I agree that there's and I think they might have done something. I don't, the way, just think about how quickly that information came from the presidency about, I mean, from the anti-corruption unit, summoning several organizations, including LECDA. Right? So you understand, because the way they operate is, if somebody is suspected of embezzlement, you can blow the whistle without revealing your identity. You just have to take that document and any other written petition and you drop it at that office, and then they'll do the investigation. And that's probably what had happened. If not, how did they get to know about that information and act so quickly? Yes.
So we'll just be waiting again?
Waiting to see what the outcome would look like. But then, overall, it's also a system. If a system of that lacks checks and balances, it's difficult.
I think, thank you so much, Alice. I think the BLM people listening now, maybe they may have some a closure or some answer, which is not a satisfactory answer. But at least you reach out, and that's what he said. Let's take it away and move on. Okay, Prof. Again, I think let's give our viewer a little bit of break so that then we'll come back. Then we'll look at some other issues so that we'll begin to narrow down our conversation this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, again, Prof, welcome back again, dear viewers. Here, this is Professor Ndemano Michael, the CEO of LECDA USA, giving us some insight of the activity of LECDA, the BLM Development Association, the BLM Culture and Development Association. Prof, one of the program that LECDA US actually run is LECDA Live. I believe it's run by LECDA Live, yes, somehow entitled. Yeah, can you throw more light on the focus? I think people talking about enrollment, what it does, and how beneficial it is to the BLM community, especially those resident in the US or maybe worldwide.
Yes, no, LECDA Life was designed in 2019. I mean, it took effect in 2019, and it was designed to solve a major problem that we had in the community, that is death benefits, being able to ship corpses of our loved ones to Cameroon. And each time somebody from the BLM pass away, you will find links like GoFundMe circulating on all the different fandom associations fora, where people are soliciting funds to dispatch the corpse. And in most of the time, in many cases, we never raise the required amount, and then it became a huge burden to families. So people could quickly be bankrupt as a result of the death of a loved one in the family. So we designed this program to address that need, where we make people subscribe to LECDA Life. That is, they paid a matriculation fee, one-time matriculation fee of $20, and then an administrative fee of $12. So $32 for the first year that they pay into it, and you become covered. So each time a death occurs, we just say, okay, we are disbursing. Usually we disburse so for when a death occurs and the person makes known to us where that person will be buried. If the person is going to be buried in Cameroon, generally we disburse 15,000. And if the person is going to be buried in the U.S., then the person, I mean, I think we recently made an adjustment on that in terms of
does it cover the BLM people, all those residing in the U.S.?
Yes, all the BLM people in the U.S. are eligible. Non-BLM people, Cameroonians too, in the U.S., they are eligible. But the question is, are all the BLM enrolled in this program? And the answer is no. Not even. I'm telling you that as of last year, the statistic we had was 60% of the members were not Libyan people. And most of these Libyan people are enrolled in SAGI, which is which has a similar program like us, but which is run by an individual from the Western province. And so the administrative fee that we collect is LECDA money. I mean, it's supposed for that SAGI, when they collect that administrative fee, I mean, that guy is like a business for him. He has about 10,000 members. That is $120,000 a year. That is in Cameroon currency, it's like 60 million that the guy is making annually. But let's say we had that 10,000 members in LECDA, for LECDA Life. That would mean that 120,000 is for the BLM, is for community development in the BLM. So I said, this is a program that is designed, it's like a business, it's a business model that is designed to help people, but meanwhile, why also contributing to development projects in the BLM. So it's something that is a kind of thing everyone was supposed to subscribe to it. And that's why I made a statement the other time. I said, well, it's even understandable that you could be a member of SAGI and also LECDA Life. That is, but for you to not even, I mean, to choose SAGI over LECDA Life, I mean, I said, when you do that, then you have to question your patriotism. Where does your loyalty lie in this kind of context? Because we have track record of making payments to the beneficiaries. That is, when a member passes away, we make sure we make timely payments. We disburse money before we collect it from different groups that are subscribed to the LECDA Life.
Right. Yeah, Prof. Now, if somebody die, say if I don't want to take so much time on this particular aspect. If I want to say, if somebody is resident outside United States and is Liberian president, can they also enroll?
They cannot enroll. If you have because under LECDA Life Administration, I mean, we have administrators, and among them we have Barrister Fonduala Fidelis, who is our legal advisor. And so he has explored those options because we wanted to expand this to Canada, I mean, at least North America and so on. So then the question was, if we want to do it, then we'll have to register this LECDA Life in Canada. We want to do in Mexico, we have to register. We want to do in Europe, we have to register it as an independent, or maybe sister business, just like you have one extension, right? Because to avoid legal entanglements, so that was the explanation. And I think we want to get to that point because it's in a way, if people who are not even from the BLM are buying into this and they are patronizing this because they see how it's helping them to why we are also collecting this minimal fee. That is like $1 a month for us to run your account. And when we do that, we don't use it to pay ourselves like the other organizations that have this similar program. They use it to pay themselves. We are doing it pro bono because we have been voted in to help the BLM. And so our term, like my term of office will be over. I'm going to step down. I'm still going to help the BLM community in different ways, engage in different projects, but I'm not going to be on LECDA Life board. The new CEO who comes in is going to be.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to ask you. Does the constitution or the guidelines spell that the next person coming in would follow through?
Exactly. The next CEO of LECDA sits on LECDA Life board because he or she oversees the activities of
and it's not coming Life to change it or
no, it's not coming to change, and that's why it's really important
for continuity.
Exactly. So we don't just want to go in there and say, okay, we are renewing the entire board and everyone's office. So we do that kind of staggering I mean, we try to stack the membership that is rotated, where the term of office it doesn't all coincide for everyone. So you have people who are serving, who serve from, and that's what we are trying to adjust on our bylaws, in a way that you have folks who are serving from, let's say, from 2020 to 2024, and then some will be
like 2021 to 2025.
Exactly.
So that a whole entire body is not voted out, and
because that will really, that will upset the whole.
Yeah, because people can just come in and just reverse something that has been put in place like that. Okay, I get it. Yeah, Prof. Yesterday, Saturday, the 29th of January.
It's 28.
Yesterday was 28.
Yes.
Of January 2023. Where you had a reception dinner with Ambassador Dr. John Nkenwaso. And even though I was there with media, even though some of the folk were discounted, that they would never had the opportunity to meet one of theirs in that kind of atmosphere. That some even went to essence in Cameroon, they were kicked away. They come to their own community, they are still kind of like kicked away. Do you have any response to that?
Well, I'm sorry that we couldn't open this reception up to everyone who was available to attend. And I think Ambassador Dr. John Carson responded to some of those critics. I mean, he said last night that LECDA wanted to do it big, but he was the one who's restricted us in terms of the number of attendees, because it's given the restrictions coming from the State Department and the White House as to the number of people who can be in an event where one of the cabinet members is attending. So folks understand. We ensure that there was broad representation. The Fondom presidents, your Fondom president was elected by you. When you elect your Fondom president, it means you have confidence, you believe that person can represent you anywhere. It's just like the president of a country who travels to different parts of the world. That person is speaking on the behalf of the people. So when there is a situation where not everybody can attend, you delegate. Yes, you have a representative, and so the Fondom organization were, and we were not just going there to go and party and dance and so on, because we had something really critical to discuss, to share with Ambassador, and you just stay tuned with for the results of this kind of reception, because it was a huge success at all the different levels, and your Fondom presidents and chapter presidents from various LECDA branches will be able to share with you some of the things that were covered. Gaza Media was there. Gaza Media will be sending out clips, videos, and sending out press reports on what transpired. So we are not hiding anything. It was designed that way. He didn't want any kind of public attention where people could end up misconstruing the purpose of that reception. So he didn't do that because he despised anyone. Yes, it's just basically because of the restrictions that they also received from the state, from the government. So I understand it that way. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you, Prof. I think, yeah, we are rounding up here. Let me take a quick break so that maybe we take a sip of water, then you come, then we'll give a closing remark, and we'll end it today.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Prof, you are back again. Yes, so I think we're running up. Let me just give you the opportunity and maybe give a closing remark to the BLM people listening to you right now.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you viewers for spending this morning with me, or afternoon, wherever you may be, just listening to what I have to say about the State of LECDA USA. For my closing remarks, I will say I want to encourage you all to get engaged wherever you are, whether you are in Cameroon, Europe, Asia, or in the United States. Please identify a cause that you are passionate about and support that cause. You cannot measure your success only by how many things or projects, houses, cars you own for yourself. You measure it by how much you have impacted lives around the world. And we happen to come from a community that is really vulnerable in many ways. And we have a good number of us addressing, you are all educated, you have acquired education, you are professionals, some of you are already professionals in your various fields. And you could just even say, I'm not going to go far. I am in the healthcare sector, or I'm in the education sector, or I'm in the engineering sector. What specific thing can I do in that area to support life, to improve quality of life in the BLM, or even within our the BLM community abroad? So this is, and it entails a sacrifice. It entails you make a decision that, okay, at least a certain percentage of my income is going to be dedicated to supporting community projects. And when we talk about that, we don't narrow ourselves to only my village or my fandom. We want you to think about it broadly, about impacting humanities. That is, people who think that way do it even beyond their division, do it even beyond their country. And I want us to really cultivate that spirit. And if you have difficulties doing that, one easiest way may be you start already by volunteering somewhere. I'm currently doing a Fulbright program in Cameroon. I've traveled there with my children. I've taken them to orphanages and making them to volunteer in those orphanages. By so doing, they may develop a different kind of empathy towards people, towards orphans, that you may not, it may spark an interest in them to give back in a way that you could not have imagined when you were introducing them to those kind of contexts. And I think many of us, even back there in Cameroon, we should begin to do that. And in the US too, I know a lot of times people are not, they are so committed, we work so many hours, and we never get a chance to create time to say, okay, I'm taking children out to go and do some kind of service, community service, voluntary work, and so on. But it's really necessary, because that's where it starts. Otherwise, we should sit back and only criticize, and that's not how it should work. But if you don't know any specific cause that you want to support, reach out to us, reach out to people that you have elected to serve your community, and say, okay, I'm really interested in doing something. I'm interested in what you are doing, but how can I help? Because at LECDA, I can tell you, as I've mentioned somewhere, I said, poverty can really be really constricting. I came to this office with a huge agenda that was, we designed it in our board, called it the Grand Scheme. Grand Scheme which had so many things, development-related projects that we wanted to carry out, including large-scale irrigation, in the BLM to ensure that people have all-season farming, that people practice all-season farming. But those things need money. When you want to execute and people begin to do feasibility studies and come up with numbers, and then you look around and say, how much do I have in the coffers? I recently discussed with Romanus Sumaye, who's an engineer in the public works in the Ministry of Public Works in Yaoundé, and we're discussing about purchasing a bulldozer that could be stationed, that we could rotate, it could be rotating between councils in the BLM, doing road projects and so on. But those things are laudable initiatives, but where is the money? Where? Because you get to a point where you want to think big, but you don't have the funds to think big, right? But if we all the BLM people are getting involved, we are contributing, we do not just make our annual development, we do not limit it to maybe the $50 or $100 that is collected annually. We say, okay, I'm donating something that commensurates with my income and so on. Then we will have substantial funds in our coffers, and that will enable us to spend sleepless nights thinking about changing lives within our communities, whether it's in the BLM or back here in the US.
Yeah, Prof, thank you so much. It has been a wonderful time with you here, taking the time after the busy yesterday on the trip to talk with us again. I want to thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yes, dear viewer, I want to thank you for staying here this morning here in the US with us, listening to Professor Ndemeno, who is the CEO of LECDA, I keep saying LECDA USA, the BLM Culture and Development Association. As you have listened to him, the project, the successes that he has able to accomplish. But next time when we meet him, he will be able to give some of these challenges that we didn't have time today to dive into. But I think based on the conversation, I think LECDA USA has done a lot. We'll continue to bring out information to you when it becomes available. As you remember, the convention is coming on, as he stated. Again, this is Gaza Media, community news outlet focusing on community story. Editorial line, as you know, no politics. We focus on community and capacity building. I want to thank Prof. I want to really thank Prof for taking the time to educate our community. He spoke passionately about some of the topics. So please share the link for those that were not able to watch up live. This thing will be recorded. It will be posted immediately after this segment so that people can rewatch and come back again and listen to some of the key projects that he did mention. Again, thank you so much and have a wonderful day.